Excuse me, guys. So, I am live on YouTube, live on Facebook. So, what do I want to talk about today? I just felt the need to really start out with some men's hoops and Iowa basketball. Just kind of talk about where the season's at so far. In the Big Ten, they're 4-5, and I believe they're 14-6 overall. Okay, so tonight they got a game against Penn State, a game that is an absolute must win for those guys tonight. Last time we played them in Iowa City, that game was closer than the final score, which I believe was 68-51. That game was a whole lot closer. Iowa played some great defense. They just didn't shoot the ball very well, uh, and managed to pull away a little bit late in the game. So I think in order for Iowa to see themselves dancing come March, I think they got to do something like 7-4 their last 11 Big Ten games, and maybe win one or two games in the tournament. We'll see. Um, is it going to be easy? Not in the least. We're going to go over that schedule here in a little bit, but I just want to talk about one thing. Let's start with the complaints that I've seen. I'm seeing an awful lot in the groups, the Hawkeye groups that are out there. I mean, besides mine, there's several others that I follow. And one thing I noticed is let's bench Jordan Bohannon. Let's bench Jordan Bohannon. He's not doing anything for the team out there. Actually, I believe he is. You know how valuable it is to have him on the floor because he can draw people away from the center out to the outside and maybe get a double team or something because although Jordan is not shooting like I think we all thought he would this year, he is capable at any minute going off and hitting two or three threes, four threes, and doing them quickly, back to back to back. You know, when he gets hot and if he can get open. Okay. The problem is he can't get open. He can't shake these defenders. Um, and it doesn't appear. I mean, and from my amateur eyes, as watching as a fan, it doesn't appear that Jordan that they're running any set plays to break Jordan free. Okay, but just having him on the floor and drawing defenders away from the center helps. How do you think it helped Keegan to have such a great year that he's having? Granted, Keegan's not having the last couple of games that Keegan is known to have. He might have some foul trouble too, you know, going on. I didn't see the last game, the last loss against Purdue. I had to work that night. I did catch some highlights here and there, but overall, I probably didn't see more than 2 or 3 minutes of the entire game. So I can't speak to what happened in that game because I just didn't see it. And I have a habit of when a team loses, when Iowa loses, I will not go back and watch that game. I'm a fan. What can I say? I want my team to win. I'll watch when they win. Um, I won't watch. I won't rewatch a game that they lost, unless it's for a specific reason and I'm looking for a specific thing. You know, like a bad referee call. So what game was that we lost and everybody blamed it on a bad ref call? Was that Rutgers? Yeah, I think it was Rutgers. Okay, guys, let's face it. Iowa should have never been in the position to how do I want to say this? They should have never been in a position to have a game come down to a bad referee call, or and especially in a game that was totally physical. It was totally physical all night. Um, okay, so it's totally physical all night, and then I think Keegan does a ticky tack foul at the end of the game. Ticky tack fouls that were being allowed to get away with on both sides of the ball all game long. Okay. All right. But if you guys, let's back up. Okay. And so everybody says that allowed, uh, Rutgers to come back and tie the game up and send the game to overtime. Okay. Well, let's back up. Iowa had a very poor shooting night. Okay. It just seemed like even Keegan, everything that even Keegan put up would not go in, even when Keegan on shots that Keegan normally makes. But they did have the lead late in the game, and they went to the free throw line. I think I remember 3 or 4 consecutive with the lead missed 1-and-1 opportunities. Okay, missed them and didn't make their free throws. Iowa's a good free throw shooting team. Why they chose that day to not make any baskets off of the floor? They went long spells without scoring. You know, have a poor 3-point shooting night, which they usually do anyway, and have a poor free throw night. But that led to Rutgers coming back. All right, they came back and took the lead, and then Iowa took the lead back late in the game. So if Iowa makes those free throws, you guys could care less. Nobody cares less if Keegan got called for a ticky-tack foul at the end of the game. Okay? Because 2 free throws wouldn't have tied the game up or given Rutgers the lead, because we would have been holding on to a 5, 6, 7 point lead the whole time. So that's where I'm at with that. Okay? Because I think we had a 5 or 6 point lead when we started going to the free throw line and started missing, and then they didn't miss at the other end. Okay? So that So I'm not comfortable blaming the ref for something that Iowa players were at fault for, because they had that game in hand late in the game and they didn't do what they had to do to win the game. Should have never come down to the ref's call. Okay. Purdue game, I don't even know what happened. Okay. Like I said, I've seen some highlights. It sounds like we were pretty well outmanned most of the game. I think Keegan again got in foul trouble. And again, I think it hurts Iowa when Keegan has to go to the bench with 2 fouls, and then especially early, and he has to ride the bench the second half. I don't know if I agree with Fran on that one or not. He's the coach. He gets paid $1 million a year to make that decision and to win games. So if he's willing to risk wins and losses by setting his guys with 2 fouls in the first half, that's what it is. Okay. I'm not going to make that call, because what happens if he does pick up that 3rd foul really quickly? If I remember right from the first game, he got in foul trouble early. Purdue was actually aggressively forcing him to foul, and I'm sure they did that same game plan this time, get Keegan out of the game. However, I think Chris fills in very nicely. It would be nice to have both Murray brothers, both Murray twins, out there at the same time, performing like no other, both scoring 20+ points a game. But it seems like lately that, and they are out there together. They are. I mean, they both have their moments out there. But it seems like lately when Keegan gets into foul trouble, we only get one Murray on the floor. And I know that many of you think Chris deserves to start. I don't know if he's going to start or not. That's up to Fran. But he definitely deserves more than his 17 minutes a game that he's averaging. And I think he averages 10, 11 points a game. Okay? And he may be our second best player on the team right now. And so Chris does deserve to be on the floor, especially at the same time. What do we do? We got Rabach out there at center. I think Patrick McCaffrey at PMAC is playing the small forward. Am I right? Jabo, the off guard. Joe Toussaint, the point guard. And our power forward is Keegan, unless Keegan's actually playing the 5. I don't know. He sure acts like he plays the 5, but I don't think he's technically our 5 guy. I think he's our 4 guy. So, who does come in? Do we bench Jabo and let Chris come in for as an off guard and just play an off guard spot? That could be. He's got the height for it. Jabo's actually an undersized off guard, which I think is why he struggles sometimes to get his shot off, because sometimes the off guard's got to be able to step back and shoot over the defender's head and make that shot quite a bit like, they do his head. A lot of people will step back over and just shoot over his head and get their 3. But I still feel that J-Bo's valuable to be on the floor just because of how much attention that he draws and how hot he can get. So where do you put Chris in that mix? Do you bench Patrick? Patrick's pretty good team. He might be the third best player on the team right now. Okay. Joe Toussaint, you know, he kind of plays well at times. You know, granted he can play fast and a little bit out of control, but I think he does a better job than Eulis with running the ball. They're both different. Eulis is kind of laid back, plays in control, but he will slash to the basket and will pop a three every now and then or try to pop a three. Um, whereas Joe Toussaint, he doesn't try to pop a three very often, I don't think. Joe is more, he doesn't get to the rim that much, but he will. I like how he can just drive into traffic and just stop at mid range and shoot mid range. And he just has like a smooth shot at mid range. It just seems to be always all net. And so I'm looking at where out of the top five do you put Chris? Chris is definitely the sixth man off the bench. I just think you continue to rotate those guys. You're rotating with J-Bo. PMAC needs a rest once in a while, so put him over there with PMAC. And maybe if Keegan gets in trouble, Chris goes over and plays Keegan's spot. But I think the key to this team that has been this year has been the center spot. We're really weak at the center. We're really light. Not that Rabacha is doing a bad job. He's just not doing the job I think he needs to do. He's skinny. He doesn't have a lot of bulk on him, it doesn't look like. And so he he is out there trying and working his butt off. So I'm going to give him credit for that, Rabacha. So yeah, it would be nice if Ogundele was ready to go. Ogundele's got that beefy, kind of reminds me look wise of the Goffy guy who plays for Illinois in the center. Big beefy guy who would be hard to knock out of the lane, and he should be using that beef to be more physical. And I don't know what's going on with him, but when you watch him play, he steps out. Sometimes he kind of looks lost in the flow of the offense. Like he's not sure if he should be going to the hoop, calling for the ball or not. Just watch him play. It's confusing to watch him. I knew he was a project player coming in, and but I kind of thought, this is his third year in the program, right? Or second year. I can't remember. I guess it's the second year in the program. I can't remember if it was. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He should be healthy now. He should be bulking up in the weight room. It doesn't look like he's hitting the weights as hard as he is hitting the food table, but he can get there. We got to have him, and I hope by next season that we got him going really well. That he will be the biggest surprise and biggest turnaround, because we know Keegan won't be back next year. I mean, why wouldn't Keegan want to take the money and run unless he wants to come back and play another year with his brother? But Keegan's got first round money waiting for him, and I don't blame him if he takes off and runs. Okay, so having said all that, I kind of talked about the season so far. We talked about how if Iowa wants to make a Big Ten run, they need to and make themselves available for March Madness as far as the dance goes. They need to win most of their 50-50 games, okay? And by 50-50 games, the games that could go either way. Indiana game was a 50-50 game. They won that one. They could have gone either way. Michigan coming in another week or so, or maybe later. That right now I consider a 50-50 game. Earlier in the season, I would have said that was a sure loss, but I think now it's a 50-50 game the way Michigan's playing. I think that game could go either way. Rutgers, I had considered that a 50-50 game because Rutgers is tough to beat at home. They really are, guys. And we want to give them a little more credit than I think they're getting. They're ahead of us in the standings. They've won more games than we have in the standings. and we lost that one. So I think those are the only two 50-50 games that I had. I mean, I had them that I thought they should beat Minnesota. They did. I felt they should beat Maryland. They did. Indiana was a 50-50 game. Help me out, folks. Oh, and Penn State I thought was a must win too. So Penn State's another must win tonight. So they lost to Purdue twice, which I thought would kind of happen. Although I did kind of predict, I thought something was going to happen and we were going to spark and get something at home with the crowd and everything. That didn't happen. The crowd didn't even, from the highlights I've seen, the crowd didn't even feel like they were in the game at all. But that's another story. Okay, so and we lost to Illinois, and so what's our fifth loss there, guys? Help me out. Who else did we lose to? Rutgers, Purdue twice, Illinois, and for the life of me, I'm having a hard time thinking who our fifth loss was to. Okay. Wisconsin. Okay. Another expected loss. But tonight should be a must win. Okay. All right. So let's go over the schedule real quick. I got them pulled up here. So we look for tonight to be a must win. Okay. And I feel like they could. Okay. Ohio State comes in ranked 16th. I don't think they're as tough as I thought they were going to be, but I think at Ohio State, I don't see that as a win. Okay, so there I got them 1-1 this so far. We got Minnesota coming in. Again, I see that as a must win. That is a win that they can get. Okay, that's going to be on Sunday afternoon. So there's 2-1. We got Maryland. We know we can beat Maryland, but at the same time, they have to play at Maryland. So that's a 50-50 game. So Iowa needs to get that one. So that's 3-1. We got Nebraska coming to us. Sunday the 13th of February. Again, that's a win they need. They got to get that one. That's 4-1. All right. Then we got Michigan coming to Iowa. Another 50-50 game. Okay. So they got to get that one. So if they get that one, they're 6-1, right? Yeah. Okay. I think I got them 6-1 right here. You guys see a pattern here? Okay. Then we got Michigan State coming to Iowa. Right now, I don't see us beating Michigan State. It could happen. This might be one we could steal, but I'm gonna give this one to Michigan State on the 22nd of February, and so that brings them to 6-2. And then we got Nebraska coming back. We go to Nebraska this time. I think again, Nebraska's 0-9 currently in the Big Ten. They're going to be dangerous because they're going to sneak out a win somewhere or against a couple of people, especially late in the season. So we don't want it to be Iowa. Again, so this brings them to 8-2. Got Northwestern coming to Iowa following that a couple nights later. Again, they should win that one 9-2. Then we go to Michigan. Okay, this one I'm going to give to Michigan because it is at Michigan. So my math is going to be off somewhere, guys. I apologize. Because now I got them 9-3, and we only have 11 games left. And then Illinois after that, I give that one to Illinois too, which 9-4. It's supposed to come out 7-4. So let me go back and recount what I get my wins because I got your 4 losses to Illinois at Michigan. Okay. And Michigan State at home. Okay, so I got Northwestern win, Nebraska on the road. There's 2. Michigan at home. There's 3. Nebraska at home. There's 4. Maryland, that's 5. Minnesota, that's 6. Ohio State loss. That's a 4th loss, and then Penn State win. So yeah, I miscounted. So I got them 7-4 going the rest of the way, guys. And if you guys, if we get that, that puts them at 12-8. 12-8, and I don't think anybody would complain about 12-8, or is that 11-9? 11-9. So I apologize for that. 11-9. Nobody's going to complain about that. I don't think that should get us into the dance. Um, so 7 more wins onto our 14 gives us 21 wins for the regular season. If you can steal 1 or 2 in the Big Ten tournament, honestly, we could get hot. I don't know if we will or not. It's Iowa, guys. It's Iowa, so I don't know where we're going to be with that. We always get our hearts broken and our hearts ripped out when it comes to big games and big tournaments. So anyway, that's where I've got them. 7-4 starting tonight. The rest of the way. I just gave you my odds and why I'm picking them. Okay, so that won't be bad. Let's not be screaming. If we can go 7-4 the rest of the way, I think all of us would be very, very happy with that. All right. Okay. Let's talk a little bit quickly about the women. They've got a tough road trip coming up. They got Ohio State tonight. And they got a lot of games because they've lost a lot of games in the Big Ten, and so they're going to have to make those up, and so they're going to start making them up now. So they got a lot of games coming up, but they're an exciting team to watch. Caitlyn Clark is the scoring average is way up there. She's the number 1 scoring person in the nation. Keegan is no longer the number 1 scoring person in the men's side. I think he's number 2 or number 3 now, and I think he's actually under 20 points a game now. I could be wrong. If somebody wants to let me know if I'm wrong, let me know. But I think I saw something where he's now 19 point something a game. Okay, and but anyway, you got to watch Caitlyn. I mean, after tonight's game on BTN, Penn State game, stick around, watch the Iowa at Ohio State game. It should be a great game. Iowa is like 7-1 or 8-1 in Big Ten play, but I think Maryland and Michigan and Indiana are all the hot teams right now in the Big Ten, and they got them all coming up. Indiana twice, Maryland coming up. They got Michigan coming up. So, this is gonna be the tale of Iowa's season. Where are they really at? And their lone loss comes to at Northwestern, or was it Northwestern at home? But it was to Northwestern, a team that they should have never lost to, but they did. Okay, but they did. But they just got they got Monica Casano. I think that's how you say her name in the center. Who's really smooth. I mean, when she's hot, she's hot. You just hit the ball inside to her, and she will just drill it in there. She'll just put it in there, lay it in, draw a couple fouls, go to the free throw line. I believe she's averaging over 20 points a game right now, and along with the 24 or 23 points a game Caitlyn Clark is having. When's the last time you saw 2 teammates, especially on the women's team, averaging over 20 points a game? All right. They've got Warnock. Can't think of her first name. You guys can probably help me out there. She can pop them from the 3, and she can also drive to the hoop and put them in. And I think the best defending player on the team is Gabby Marshall. She leads the team in steals, so I guess that tells you right there she defends pretty well. And she also does a decent job. She doesn't get a lot of points per game. But most of her shots come from the 3-point land. She is a very good 3-point shooter. I believe the other night she had 12 points, and that was number 3 on the team, behind Monica and Caitlyn. And so, but I would just say, you guys got to watch this team. They can put up points, and they can put them up quickly. Just watch how they play. They're really fun to watch. I dare to say that if the men and the women got in a 3-point shooting contest, the women would easily win. And what is that? I think they moved the line back for both men and women, and now they're both shooting the 3 from the same line. That never really happened before. Maybe that's why the men are struggling with the 3-point line, because it just seems like the 3-point line is back further than it has been in the past. So anyhow, so there we go. The women are doing phenomenal. Like I said, I think they're 8-1 in Big Ten play. And so, wow, they're right there. They're right there in the thick of the race. Let's hope they can pull that out and be there at the end, win the Big Ten tournament, win the Big Ten regular season. But like I said, they've got a tough stretch of games coming up, and they're playing all the big boys or all the big girls, I should say, in the league right now. Everybody who's up there with them are right there at the top with them. They're playing them all. Okay, so wish the women well. I know people are really excited about this team, and the other night when I can't remember which team they had playing, um, they had more people in the stands than the men had for the Indiana game, and it was just like a day or two after the Indiana game, so that's why I made note of it. And the crowd was quite a bit louder, quite a bit more into it. But when you pull back the cameras and look at the stadium, they just seemed like it was way packed, a lot more than the Indiana game was, and a lot more louder. So it just shows you right now, the women are making an impression on the fans, um, and the young ladies around the state are following these girls and these ladies, and the adults like myself are finding an exciting brand of basketball. So we can watch the women. The wrestling team. I don't know if they dropped to number 3 in the rankings. I heard that they were number 3, but they were still billed as number 2 against Penn State. I truly believe that we could have won that one. One if Drake Ayala had wrestled. Okay. I believe he would have beat his man, and that would be take away 4 points that Penn State had and put 3 onto Iowa. Okay. Um, and I don't remember which wrestler it was. Was it Santo or Young or somebody who had a takedown with a couple seconds left that would have given him the win, and then they took it away from him because they said that they awarded the 2 points after the clock expired, and so he had to wrestle in overtime and lost that match. Okay, guys, it's just he had the takedown. The referee just didn't award the points quick enough. Okay, he waited until he hit 0 to go 2, and honestly, if you look at it from about the 2-second mark until the 0 mark when that match ended, um, nothing had changed. He was in the exact same position. He was in the same control. Nothing had changed. So I believe it was Young. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong. That wrestler got robbed, and there was 3 points right there that should have swung to Iowa. If that happens, I believe Iowa wins by 1 point. Okay. Yeah, I believe they win by 1 because we take away the 4. We take away 7 points from them and give us the 6 points. Okay, so Iowa would have won that match. There was very good matches. I mean, Iowa, against Penn State, every one of our top guys had a chance there. They were right there in the thick of it. Some of them were leading until late. Some of them had to come from behind and still couldn't come back. But yeah, overall, I just think when I watch Penn State wrestlers, I kind of like how they work out of when they start in the down position. I kind of like how they work out. They do it different than I've seen any other team do it. Most people try to stand up and you jerk the hands out and then turn around for their um, allowing the other team to get up, jerk the hands down, and turn around and get the reversal and or the escape. I guess is what it is, the escape, not the reversal. But they don't allow that. They take their guy and they roll them. They roll them. They won't let them up. They don't let them stand up. And also they also roll when they're on the bottom to try to see if they can get their guy on the back and take control that way. So yeah, there's just something about the way Penn State wrestles that I kind of like. I mean, I don't like the fact that they beat our team Iowa, but I gotta respect the way they wrestle because their guys have a different style, and every one of them has a similar style than what Iowa does to get themselves out of trouble. They have a way of defending, when they get into trouble. I don't know, it's just hard to explain. I'd like maybe get Chuck Yegla on here and he could explain it better than I could. But there's something that Penn State's doing that the individual wrestlers get out of trouble easier than our guys do. Our guys have a little harder time getting out of trouble. And so um, that's something interesting to look at. I still believe we can win the national title and we can win the Big Ten title. I mean, how often can these guys keep beating the same guys all the time? I mean, sooner or later, our wrestlers have to be able to beat the Penn State guys. And guys, honestly, the championship could come down to national championship could down to like 3 or 4 matches with Penn State versus Iowa easily in the finals. And of course, that would come down to the who wins those game matches. So um, that's really key to watch that. I didn't realize that Penn State was that good. I mean, last year they weren't that good, and I think maybe they weren't. I think maybe they had some guys take a year off. Maybe that's what it was or something. And so I don't know, but Penn State looks like a very very good team. Iowa's a very very good team. It hurts not having Spencer Lee in there right now. There's a lot of points being taken away right there. But yeah, I gotta believe that when Tom Brands put his guy out there in place of Ayala, I don't know. I heard Ayala might be hurt, and there's a 50-50 chance that he'd even be able to wrestle again this year. Although, Tom Brands is playing it close to the vest. They've not said anything to anybody, that when it comes up to a match, they still list him as the starter. So, but yeah, I got to believe that when Brands put the other dude in, I can't remember his name, Yarborough, okay, something like that. That Brands knew that they were going to lose the match. They knew that um, their chances of winning the team match, the team points were out the door. And that Brands is a very good coach. He's got national championships under his belt. He's got national champions. He has, he's been to the Olympics. He's, Big Ten title stuff. So he knows what he's doing. So I'm not going to question. Maybe it doesn't really bother him to lose the duel. Maybe it does. I hate to think that it doesn't bother him. But honestly, I think he knew going in that they weren't going to win that duel just from the starters that he had. Because he knew that it was going to take a really good effort, even with his top guys out there, to beat these Penn State wrestlers. So, and they needed the referees to make the right calls. And yeah, for sure with the young, I believe it was with Young. For sure, that was a bad call. Bad call. Bad call. Bad call. Young won that one in regulation. There's no doubt in my mind. There was no doubt in the announcers' minds. you know. So yeah, the referee, but the referee just goes back to the film and he looks, oh, I awarded the 2 points when it hit 0. So therefore there are no points, You have to look at you should have awarded the points 2 seconds before that. And I know it's tough to be a referee. I used to referee myself, so it's tough. When things are happening live action and fast and you're trying to watch everything at the same time, you know, it's tough. It's tough. And I've gotten them wrong before, you know. It happens. It happens. So, but that one was pretty well. And that one had tape to back it up, and I really think that if he'd awarded that takedown 2 seconds sooner, like he should have, then Young wins that match. Okay, guys, look, I promised you we talked mainly about the men, and we hit the wrestlers, and we hit the women's basketball. I think this has been a good show. I've noticed that people have been popping in and out during the live. It will be there for YouTube. I'll put the link up later in the Facebook groups so you can watch it. It's going to be about 35 minutes long, so pre-warning. And so anyway, I want to thank you guys for coming to Iowa Hawkeye Sports group. It is a private group. I appreciate each and every one of it. We got over 1,400 or 1,500 members now. This thing has grown crazy. Paul and Terry have done a lot of work to help this group grow, and it's grown so fast that I appreciate them monitoring and being administrators and what's going on there to kind of help me out and get ahead of the game. Because the one thing I do want to point out in our group is no solicitation, no sales of services and goods. And right now we've got a guy coming in under a different name, several different names, trying to peddle T-shirts. He comes in and he does it like, "Oh, look what I got in the mail today. Oh man, I just wanted to share it with you." And then later on, he goes, "Oh, if you guys want a shirt like that, here's a link to the link." He doesn't directly sell it in his post. He's just quote underneath sharing it. Or my son's autistic and he just designed these shirts. Well, I don't think his son designed these shirts because I have one identical to it and I got it a couple years ago. And so, don't lie to people. I don't lie to people that your son was autistic and he designed them because they're not. And by the way, since I did have one, they're very cheaply made shirts. Um, Actually, I bought it a year ago. I'm sorry, it was a year ago, not 2 years ago, and it's like a rag right now. It didn't hold up. After the first washing and wear and washing, it's a rag. It's faded. It's all stretched out. It doesn't look like it's new, and it's not a high quality shirt, guys. And so, if you do see that, I recommend that you don't buy the shirt. I wouldn't buy it again if I had to. But that being said, is we're trying. Hopefully, you don't see him because hopefully Terry, Paul, and I are staying on top of it and removing those things from the post before we see them. But if you guys see something that we should take a look at, don't forget to flag it and send it to us. Okay. All right. Thanks again, everybody, for joining the group. Thank you, everybody, for watching this. If you got this far, I appreciate each and every one of you guys watching it. I know Paul does, and hopefully, Paul and I got a special podcast coming up soon, but I can't say anything about it yet. It could be really special. It could set the tone for a while. And so, but I don't know. Yeah, I won't say anything more than that because I'm not guaranteed it's going to happen yet. And we're waiting on some responses to it. So that being said, have fun. And now I got to do another podcast on my weight loss journey and stuff. So stay tuned for that one. If you guys want to join my YouTube site, my channel, they'll both be on the same channel. All right. All right, guys. Take care. Have fun. And out.